guys, welcome back. I am so excited to be back today. Just want to wish you guys a happy new year. I hope everyone is doing well. I actually just wanted to sit down today and talk to you guys about this whole thing that's going on with Tarte Cosmetics. Now, I'm just gonna start by saying this. I've watched almost every single video, depending on at least the ones that I could find, just because I'm interested to hear people's different perspectives. You know, there are people who are outraged, and if you're living under a makeup rock, because I understand that there might be some people who watch me who don't necessarily know what is going on in the makeup community. There is a makeup brand called Tarte, and they decided to release a very highly anticipated foundation. And since Fenty Beauty came over and slayed the game with all the shades of foundation for every single undertone, including women of color in their first launch, and you have all these other brands trying to get on the bandwagon and say, okay, great, we're gonna be inclusive. Tarte decided to release their foundation, and they were like, nope, we're just gonna stick to the same old good old thing that we've been doing, and that is releasing shades for all the white people and the lighter shades and leaving all the melanin out. Now, I have a couple of things to say. So first thing is, I'm not surprised. I think that it was a little bit surprising for some people, just because, and I think I was watching Raw Beauty Christy, and I really liked her video. I'm gonna link it below, because she actually talked about the fact that she said she actually didn't realize that this is what we were going through as dark-skinned women. Like, we live a reality that is all about going to the stores and understanding that we will only have one shade. I think it was kind of interesting when Fenty Beauty came out, because I literally remember going to the store and I thought that based on what other people's shades were, I could possibly find my match. But I was actually shocked when I went to the store and found out that I was 430 when somebody else was 420 or 450 or 400. So just to see that much of a variation in the fact that we finally had an opportunity to get a shade that matched our skin, that was a great feeling that I don't think a lot of people consider and think about. Now, as I said before, this is nothing new. I think Tarte just put themselves in a very bad position, especially after Fenty Beauty, because the reality of this is, it's not just Tarte. When you walk into a store, right, and you look at foundations, almost 9 times out of 10, the shades that are out there are literally all types of white and beige, and then 1 or 2, we're lucky if we get 3 or 4 from a certain type of brand. Now, the second problem here is when you do not have that much opportunity and you have problem skin like my skin. I'm oily, okay? I'm not only oily, but I have scars on my face, so I have to make sure that I have something that has great balance with full coverage, and also great balance when it comes to the oil control, or else I look like an oil slick. So I have slim pickings. There are very few foundations that cater to me. You know, I love Lancome, I love Becca, I do like Makeup Forever, Fenty clearly right now slaying the game. So there are foundations that cater to us. However, the options, especially when it comes to price point, are very few. So I mean, I've never thought of Tarte as a diverse brand. Every single foundation that they've released has never worked for me. A lot of times the eyeshadow palettes that they release don't work for me, because they'll have all types of beige and they all look the same on my face. So I'm like, what is the point of buying your palette? So stuff like that just turns me off of brands in general. Those are the things that we notice. And I think one of the most hurtful things that I hear is, and here's the thing, I don't think people mean anything by it. Well, let me not say that. But here's the thing, people say it's just makeup, but my thing is, it's not, right? Because unless you are someone who struggles with finding your shade, it's more than just makeup. It's always something that you're reminded of. You're reminded of it when you walk into stores and you can't find what you need. You're reminded of it when you get looks from people, or you smile at people and you say hello to them and you're being nice, and they look at you with disgust. you're reminded of it when you are trying to you're trying to advance in a certain field, and you just know that people who are your counterparts are going to have an advantage just because of who they are, what their skin is, what they look like. So it's not just makeup. Although this is just something, I mean, it's just going to be an example that Tarte is going to, or at least a very, very expensive mistake that Tarte has gone through. One thing I'm happy about is I have seen quite a few major influencers talking about it, just because if you are someone who has always been in a position of being oppressed, people who are doing the oppressing do not respect you in the first place. So no matter how much talking, I mean, we've been saying this for years. I'm pretty sure after, like, before every single foundation review I do that has a very limited shade range, I talk about it. Whether it be drugstore or high-end, I talk about the shade ranges and how limited they are. It's just kind of like, you guys have to understand, especially if you are not in this position, that every single time that someone who is in the minority expresses something, if you are in the quote-unquote majority and you don't respect me anyway, you're not even gonna pause to think about it and listen to it unless you want to. So we are not the ones who can enact this change. It's up to the people who are in the majority to speak up for us, and I think that's one thing I am happy about. Unfortunately, Tarte did not, and let's just park here, because that quote-unquote statement that they made through Pop Sugar, one thing that really stuck out to me was they said that they already had 10 shades in the making, right? And it's not just 10 shades, right? It's 5 shades for the matte and 5 shades for the hydrating formula, which means, and then they said, this is the line that got me, the line that said something like, well, we released the darker shades in the summer. And I'm like, so that actually tells me that no, it's not about the fact that I look like this every single year or year round or every single day, but you actually had intentions to release more lighter shades, just tanner than what they actually are. Because if you're basing your foundation releases when it comes to your like skin colors and the summer, that just means that whatever you have, you're gonna release more of that, just in more tan. So I was just like, why are we even like, what? Don't even bother. Don't put out statements. And then the funny thing too is, why are you sending out PR packages to darker influencers? Like, why are you know you're gonna get roasted. You know Jackie is gonna get you. Even It Cosmetics, like, I look at these brands and I'm actually shocked. I'm like, are we just living in a delusional world? Now, and before I go, the other thing I wanted to call out was Col-Lab makeup. Col-Lab Beauty. Whatever brand that Sam's Beauty came out with. No, not Sam's Beauty. Look at me. Sally's Beauty, that Col-Lab makeup, where they had, I think, 6 influencers come together and make this like brand, this makeup for like influencers, or at least that had influencer opinion weighed in. Here's the thing. I was so highly disappointed with that entire thing, because I felt like, why is there no representation for us? So you picked 6 influencers, and granted, Raven was out there, and I absolutely love Samage, love her, love Claire Ashley. I actually met her in DC at a meetup. So I love these people, and it's not their fault, but that's another situation that I just looked at and I said, and I actually went to the store. I do these things. I go to the store to see exactly what the shade range looked like. And at least for this particular brand, they did have some darker shades, so I would actually be able to find my shade in the Col-Lab range. My biggest problem with that was the fact that they had so many beauty influencers to choose from who could represent a darker skin tone, at least one. I mean, they had someone Asian, they had someone white, they had the mixed race, they had everybody except one of us. And it was just so disappointing, because I'm like, I just think about these boardrooms and these higher up locations and these people sitting around round tables discussing these products, and we don't have a voice, we don't have a representation, and they're okay with it. And that to me just tells me where I'm gonna put my money. But that's another brand that I've been wanting to call out. But I just, you guys tell me what your thoughts are. leave them below. Let's start a discussion. But you know, there's nothing else we can do. We as women who are melanin aided, a little on the darker side, we will continue to do what we have always done. I watched a lady's video, and a young lady's video, I'll put her video below, but she had lots of options for brands that are owned by women of color. Our money speaks volumes. Our money speaks so many volumes. I mean, look at Black Panther. Just the pre-sale for the tickets is like breaking all types of records. Like, our money speaks volumes, and where we put our money matters and it counts. And I think personally for me this year, I'm going to do a better job of researching the brands I invest in. Now granted, there are lots and lots of situations where there are a lot of companies that we support just because we buy everyday things, and you have people at, of course, air traffic just had to come in. But anyway, there are lots of brands out there that we support that we don't know that the people who are in these higher up positions don't want anything to do with us. And I think I want to do a better job at actually doing the research to make sure that I know where my money goes to, and that's the only way that we can make a difference. I do want to encourage you guys out there, especially for those of you guys who were hurt by this release. I was like, so you had enough money to send people to PR trips, you had enough money to come up with 2 formulas, hydrating and matte, and both of those formulas had different shades, so you came out with 30 shades. Anyway, let me stop. I think I'm done. Thank you guys so much for watching. Welcome if this is your first time. Go ahead and subscribe. I'm excited for this year to bring different kinds of videos to my channel. I think I'm going to be more chatty, give you guys a little bit more about what I'm thinking on the inside. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you on my next video. Bye!